What's good, YouTube? It's Justice. I used to be Pay, and today I'm back with another video. Today I'm going to be talking about Metro Boomin and why he might just be on pace to be the GOAT hip-hop producer, the GOAT rap producer, and if not the GOAT rap producer just in general, he's definitely going to be remembered as the GOAT producer of this generation, and it's not really going to be close. Now, music is subjective, so there's never going to be like an undisputed, just unrivaled GOAT of anything in music, rapper, musician, or rapper, singer, R&B artist, whatever you want to whatever you want to rank. There's never really truly going to be an undisputed GOAT because it's all subjective at the end of the day because it's art. There's no right or wrong answers to art. And that applies to hip hop, that applies to rap, that applies to everything in the music industry. So when we talk about producers, there's never going to be a truly just right answer that's just always going to be given. You know, if you want to talk about the greatest producer of all time, most people want to talk about Dr. Dre or Kanye West or Pharrell or Timbaland. And, you know, they'll go down the line. So there's never going to be a consensus GOAT. So I'm not going to come out here and say in this video that Metro Boomin's going to be the consensus GOAT, but he's definitely going to be in that conversation. If not, he's already in that conversation. And for this generation, for sure, by a majority of people, he's going to be remembered as the best producer of this generation from like the 2010s till now. And again, it's all subjective. So if you don't like Metro's beats or you think Metro's beats are pretty basic, that's your opinion. But when you look at the measurables, that's when we can really start to have a conversation. Of course, you can prefer Pierre, you can prefer Filthy, you can prefer whoever you want to prefer out of this generation. Tay Keith. There's a whole bunch of guys in this generation that are making great beats. Great beats. There's a whole bunch. So you can take your pick of the litter, but at the end of the day, you have to respect what Metro has done and what he's continuing to do as of right now. And the reason I'm making this video is because I've been kind of reminded of this fact or this, hypothesis that I have, this theory, due to me going to see Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. It was a great movie. And of course, Metro Boomin put together the soundtrack for the movie. And he also has a character in the movie that actually has a line. So that's pretty cool. But I just realized, like, man, they reached out to Metro Boomin of all people. Of all the people they could have reached to make this soundtrack, they called Metro Boomin. And then I really sat there and I was like, man, this dude's on path to have one of the greatest resumes in rap. Since the start of the 2010s decade, Metro's probably been the most successful producer consistently. Like, he's been consistently putting out quality music and also consistently receiving accolades. Because again, when we talk about producers, it's all subjective at the end of the day. If you don't really like Metro's beats, you're not going to agree that he's the best producer ever. But what you cannot argue with is his accomplishments and the artists he's worked with. Since 2010 or early 2010s, if you're a big rapper, you have a song with Metro. Like, there's probably very, very, very few artists who don't have a song with Metro. Like Drake, Future, 21 Savage, Young Thug. You can just go down the list of all the major rappers. Lil Durk, Lil Baby. Just keep going down the list. They all have a song with Metro. Multiple songs with Metro. Some of them even have whole projects with Metro because he's just been that guy as a producer since the early 2010s. And up until this point, as of recently, his discography is damn near unmatched. Since, his second project, I'll start in 2016. He has Savage Mode with 21 Savage, Perfect Timing with Nav, Without Warning with 21 Savage and Offset, Double or Nothing. He has Not All Heroes Wear Capes. Double or Nothing was with Big Sean. Savage Mode 2 with 21 Savage, Heroes and Villains, which just dropped last year, and then the Across the Spider-Verse soundtrack, which just dropped this year. So that's a crazy run in terms of discography because those are all quality projects. Like, even though, again, it's subjective, but when you go down the list of these projects and you look at how people receive them, they were all received extremely well. Extremely well. And that's because when you get a Metro project, it doesn't really feel like a whole bunch of rushed fast food music, which can happen a lot nowadays, especially with trap music being the biggest subgenre of rap right now. It gets really repetitive. Even still, even though Metro makes trap beats, it's quality every single time. It's quality throughout his projects. It's quality when he works with 21 Savage. It's quality when he works with Future. It's quality when he works with Drake. Like, it just fits. He just knows how to put together a song beautifully, even if it is a trap song where, we've heard these lyrics probably a whole bunch and, we've heard similar sounding beats. It still works, and his projects are always giving consistent quality. And a major reason why Metro will be remembered as one of the greatest rap producers of all time, especially of this generation, is the amount of credit he receives, because a lot of producers don't really get the credit they receive. You know, it really started to pick up in terms of credit with really, really popular producer tags. Most producers have some sort of popular producer tag that everyone can remember, and Metro has several that are iconic at this point.
Metro Boomin want some more, nigga.
If young Metro don't trust you, I'm gonna shoot you.
Like, most producers have probably one or two that's very recognizable. Metro has like 5, 6, maybe even 7. So that just goes to show the level of recognition that's there, because whenever you hear Metro, like, we all know who that is. Or if you're on Metro, don't, like, we all know who that is every single time we hear one of his iconic producer tags. And outside of just the producer tags in terms of getting credit, Metro is often listed as an artist on his songs. It's often, you know, Metro Boomin and 21 Savage, Metro Boomin and Offset, Metro Boomin and like, he gets a lot of credit that a lot of producers really don't get. Most producers will get a little credit, you know, produced by, and when you check the song credits, and that's about it. A lot of producers don't actually end up as one of the artists named in the songs, and that's one of the major reasons as to why Metro Boomin is also one of the most recognizable producers in this era. Like, he gets his credit. His name is out there. You're not just going to be like, oh, who made this beat? No, you're going to know. If it isn't through the producer tag, you might just see his name in the artist list. So he gets his credit, and he makes sure that you know Metro made this beat. And that's really important, because producers are like the heart and soul of the music industry. Producers are the oxygen of especially rap, because the beat is so important. I don't care what anyone says. You can't have a great song with a whack beat. I just don't think it's possible. You might be able to have a decent song, even if you have the best lyricist of all time. If the beat is whack, the song more times than not is going to be whack as well. So you need producers, and producers are so important, but they oftentimes don't get that credit because they're not the one rapping. They're not the one whose face is on the cover art. They're not the one who's doing the interviews. They're not usually in that position. But Metro makes sure that you know, I made this. This is my work too. It isn't just 21 Savage rapping. Like, I made the beat. I put it all together. This is my work as well. And I love that about Metro. That's one of my favorite things about him, is that he makes sure he gets his credit, because he's super important to the song. Every producer is just as important as the rapper, but they don't get that level of credit. So the fact that Metro makes sure that he gets his credit is one of the main reasons as to why he will be remembered as a GOAT, because whenever you hear a great song, you're going to say, oh, if you're on Metro, I don't trust you. Okay, that's Metro. Or he might just be in the song title. So that's also a major reason as to why he will be so prolific when people go back and talk about this generation and talk about the producers. When they talk about Tay Keith, when they talk about Turbo, when they talk about ATL Jacob, when they talk about Southside, he's going to be remembered as one of the guys at the very top, if not the top dog of this generation. And to look into some of the more tangible evidence for Metro being remembered as one of the GOATs, if not the GOAT, especially of this generation, he has 46 Billboard songs, 4 top 10 songs, with Creepin' going number 3 at its highest, I believe, and it's been on the charts for I don't know how many weeks at this point, and it's probably going to be on the charts and continue to be there for the next who knows how long. He has 3 number 1 albums since 2018, and mind you, all the stuff that I just listed is only stuff where he's directly credited as an artist, where it says Metro Boomin in terms of like the artist name. It'll say Metro Boomin and, you know, The Weeknd and 21 Savage. Like, those are the songs that he's directly credited in. I'm not even mentioning all the songs where he just produced the beat, like Bad and Bougie, that went number 1, but that's not credited as a Metro song on the Billboard charts. Like, when you look it up, it doesn't say, oh, this is a Metro song, this is a Migos song. But you get what I'm saying. Like, if I included all the stuff he's credited under, like Mask Off, like Father Stretch My Hands, like, there's so many songs where he is the producer that have shot to the top of the charts. But he doesn't get that credit in terms of being listed as an artist because he's not the artist. But that's why it's super impressive that he still has these accolades. But that just goes to show you that even without the stuff where he's just the producer and he doesn't get any credit as an artist, he still has a very solid level of accomplishments to look at and to say, hey, look at what I've done, even without the stuff that he's not directly credited on as an artist, even without Bad and Bougie and all those other songs that went super, super viral. Without those, even if you look at just the work that he's directly credited on, it rivals pretty much any other person you want to talk about, at least in the modern era. Obviously, if you look at Dre and all those, okay, that's a little different. They have a little bit more work in their in their bag. Like Timbaland, he has a little bit more work in his bag. But if we're looking at just this era, he can rival anyone. And if not rival them, top them with just the stuff that he's directly credited on. Not even just the other stuff. When rappers want a big song, they go to Metro. When people want a great beat, they go to Metro. When high caliber artists are like, we need a high caliber project, they go to Metro. When the Spider-Man movies need a soundtrack, they go to Metro. Like this man, he's going to be remembered as the GOAT of this generation, if not one of the greatest producers of all time. He will be, no, I take that back. He will 100% be remembered as one of the greatest producers of all time, but he might just be remembered as the greatest, to a lot of people at least. To people my age and younger and slightly older, he might just be the greatest producer of all time. And again, when I talk about his projects are what DJ Khaled thinks his projects are. Masterfully curated. Every single feature is great. I know that's out of his control, but the features sound great. The track list is put together well. There's a storyline. There's a flow. That's not to disrespect DJ Khaled's projects, but in general, his are a little, subpar with the number of people he has on there and the names he has on his projects. They're a little subpar. The production is beautiful on all of Metro's projects. Like Metro, in terms of a producer, is everything you could want as of right now. As of right now, today in 2023, he's killing the game. He's killing the game. He's been doing it since the early 2010s. And Metro's only 29 years old. And the shelf life for a rapper in comparison with a producer is pretty different. Once a rapper turns like 35, people are like, all right, man, you're getting kind of old. If you're not, one of the top, if you're not Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, Kanye, Drake, like once you turn 35, people are like, I don't know, bro. Even guys like 50 Cent, T.I., when they start getting older, people were like, and they were some of the biggest rappers around when they were at their peak. But when it comes to a producer, it doesn't matter how old you are. He's got minimum 10 years left in him if he really wants to. He could be producing when he's 50 and nobody would really bat an eye because he's a producer. There's not a certain image that comes with being a producer. You don't have to be a young, cool, tough guy to be a producer. You can just be a producer. So who knows where Metro will be in 5 years? Who knows where he'll be in 10 years, 15? Like just imagine the amount of stuff he's done by the age of 29. Who knows where he'll be in 10 years? Who knows what he'll have done in 10 years? So in general, with the mixture of quality and the actual sound of his beats and his music, with the accolades that he'll have, he's going to be remembered as the greatest producer of this generation. And I think it's a good take. I think that's the right way to remember him, and one of the greatest of all time. 100%. And again, producers don't really get the love that they need. Obviously, people love certain producers. With guys like Tay Keith, Pierre, ATL Jacob, Southside. Like, there's just a whole bunch of producers nowadays that you can look at and be like, man, that's one of my favorite producers. He's really that guy, And if you think they're better than Metro, that's fine. But you just can't deny what he's done, I'm not going to sit up here and try to argue with you and be like, no, Metro's the greatest producer. Look at the songs he's made. Like, if you don't like his beats, you don't like his beats. But when you look at what he's done and what he's accomplished, it's undeniable. It's just undeniable at this point. You got to take your cap off and tip it to the man, because he's going on a crazy run right now. This man just dropped Not All Heroes Wear Capes, and then he just dropped Heroes and Villains, and then he's just dropped Across the Spider-Verse, the soundtrack. Like, he's going crazy right now. So I just wanted to show Metro some love. I think he is the greatest producer of this generation, and he definitely, without a doubt, will go down as one of the greatest producers of all time, regardless of genre, regardless of whatever. He's going to be up there all time by the time he retires, because the man's only 29 years old. And what else? Honestly, if he retired right now, I wouldn't even be mad, because what else is there to even do for him? What else is there to even do? He's made great projects. He's worked on other people's projects. He's worked on other people's singles and made great singles. He's worked on his own singles and made great singles. Honestly, there's not much left for him to do besides make beats just for the love of it. And if he continues to do that, his list of accolades, his resume is going to be ridiculous. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you disagree. Maybe Pierre is way better than him, and Metro's overrated, and Metro's really a trash producer, and really he gets carried by his artists, because I've never really heard that argument. I've heard people say that artists get carried by beats, but I've never heard of producers getting carried by artists. But I mean, that's because most people aren't arguing about producers. But whatever. Leave a comment down below. If you made it this far, I greatly, greatly appreciate you. Leave a like, leave a subscribe, do all that. Thank you so much. Peace.